The night my husband disappeared, the house was too quiet. Not the quiet of peace, the quiet of something that had been waiting. He had left his phone on the kitchen counter. Screen up, face down, like he was trying to hide it from the air itself. A message notification blinked once, then died. I stood there with my coffee, pretending I was reading the news. Pretending I didn't notice the way the message tone had sounded different. Not a normal tone. Not his tone. A tone like a warning. I didn't touch the phone. I watched the dark hallway instead. The hallway where he always paused, where he always looked back at me like he was making sure I was still there. He didn't do that tonight. He didn't do anything. Then the message came again. A second notification. This time I saw the words without meaning to. Tell her the truth. My throat tightened. Tell her the truth. Who was he talking to? And what truth? I sat down slowly, as if my body might remember how to be normal if I gave it time. But the truth didn't need time. It needed exposure. I looked at his wedding ring, then at the kitchen knife block. I thought about the first time he said he loved me. I thought about the way he had smiled like he'd just won something. I thought about the way he'd always made sure the light in our bedroom was warm. And I realized I had been living in a warm lie. The next morning, I acted like nothing had changed. I made coffee. I made his breakfast. I made small talk about nothing. He was already gone. He left before dawn, the way he always did when he had a meeting. The way he always did when he had something to hide. I watched the front door close behind him, and I did not feel panic. I felt the beginning of a plan. The betrayal was not a sudden thing. It was a slow, careful drip, like poison. It wasn't just sex. It was the way he had begun to look at me like I was a habit. The way he laughed at my jokes with a little too much effort. The way he stopped touching my hand when he walked past. The way he started forgetting things that mattered. The way he kept his phone in his pocket like it was a secret he could carry. I had dismissed those signs as stress, work, fatigue, life. But the message had changed everything. Tell her the truth. Who was her? I waited. I watched. I listened. And the more I watched, the more I realized that he was not just cheating. He was building a second life. The suspicion grew into a shape. It was ugly. It was sharp. It fit. For 2 weeks, I kept my face calm. I smiled at him like I was the wife he wanted. I asked him about his day like I was still the woman he needed. I even touched his arm in the hallway the way I used to. He flinched once. Not because I hurt him, because he was not used to me being close. He was used to me being there, but not present. That flinch was the first crack. I began my quiet investigation. I started with the smallest things. I checked his browser history. Deleted. I checked his bank statements. Nothing unusual. I checked his email. Nothing. But I wasn't stupid. I knew how to hide things. He had learned from me. So I looked where he thought I would not. I looked at his work laptop. He always took it. He always said it was because of deadlines. I opened it. I found a folder he'd named Travel. Inside were pictures, not of business trips, of a woman. A woman he'd been taking pictures of like he was documenting something. Not just documenting, worshipping. There were receipts, too. Flowers, dinners, hotel rooms, and a name, not hers. A name he used in the subject line of emails. Lena. Lena. My stomach turned cold. Because I knew that name. I knew it from somewhere. From a conversation he'd had with a client years ago. From a story he'd told me once. A story he'd told me as a joke. A story that now felt like a confession. He had not just cheated. He had planned it. He had rehearsed it. He had lived it. And he had left me behind. I sat on the floor of our bedroom, the laptop open on my lap, and I realized something I hadn't been ready to admit. I didn't only want him gone. I wanted him to suffer the way I had. I wanted him to feel the loss he had been so casually giving. The evidence arrived like a slow, precise strike. A test, a result, a confirmation. I didn't cry when the report came. I didn't scream. I read the words twice. Then again, my hands did not shake. My heart did not race. It simply sank into a cold place. The DNA test confirmed what I already suspected. The child he had insisted was mine was not mine. The baby we had raised together. The child he had held in his arms while I slept. The child he had told me was the proof of our love, not mine. He had known. He had known from the beginning. And he had let me live with the lie. He had let me love a child that was not mine. He had let me build my life around a story he had written, and he had watched me believe it. He walked in that night. He looked tired. He looked like he had been waiting for something to happen. I stood in the living room, holding the report like it was a weapon. He saw it. His face went pale. His mouth opened, then closed. He didn't know what to say, because he knew I already knew. I looked at him, not with anger, with clarity. "Do you want to explain this?" I asked. My voice was calm. Too calm. He swallowed. His eyes flicked to the paper, then back to me. "I can," he began, but he didn't finish, because there was nothing left to say. The truth had already been spoken. It had spoken through the ink. It had spoken through the numbers. It had spoken through the quiet space between us. He looked like a man who had been caught. Not by someone else, by the person he had betrayed. The revenge was not dramatic. It was not loud. It was not the kind of revenge that makes a movie. It was worse. It was precise. I did not confront him in the way he expected. I did not beg him to confess. I did not cry. I did not threaten. I simply did what he had done to me. I let him see the consequences of his lies. The next morning, I packed a suitcase. I packed his things too. Not all of them. Just the ones that mattered. The ring, the photos, the reminders. I left the rest. I left the house. And I left him with the knowledge that he had not only lost me, he had lost his entire future. He had lost the child he had used like a shield. He had lost the woman who had trusted him. He had lost the life he had built on deceit. I stood at the front door and looked back once. He was standing in the hallway watching me. He looked like a man who had just realized he had been living inside, a story he did not write. "Where are you going?" he asked. I didn't answer. I just walked out. I shut the door behind me. Not loudly, not dramatically, just firmly, like a sentence, like a final decision. Now, when I think about him, I feel nothing but a cold clarity. No anger, no longing, no regret, just the understanding that I was never his wife. I was his lie, and now the lie is gone. He is gone, and the truth is finally free. I am free, and I will never go back to the woman I used to be, because the woman I was is dead, and the woman I have become is not for him. She is for me, and she will not be fooled again.